Hi class, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about writing an assertion paragraph, which is due this week, week 3. Basically, the point behind this is kind of a couple different steps here. Number 1, an assertion paragraph is going to look exactly like a body paragraph when we go to writing an essay. So you can think of this as the first step in the process of writing an essay. The body paragraph obviously being the meat of an essay. So that's the first way to sort of think of this. And really on the more specific level, in an assertion paragraph, what you're trying to do is you're trying to use evidence from our stories to prove a point that you make about the story. One thing to keep in mind when you make an assertion is you want it to be a debatable point. You want it to be something that some people could look at it one way while others could look at it another way. If you're picking a point that's not really debatable, that's pretty common knowledge, then you're not really accomplishing as much in your assertion paragraph. So, for instance, you wouldn't really want to lock in on Madame Loisel being materialistic, because I think that I'm not really sure whether anybody would debate that point. But you might want to pick another idea. Like, for instance, you could say, you could make an assertion that Nettie Merrill, his problems are due to his alcohol consumption. Not everyone would agree with that. Some people might say that Nettie Merrill's problems, this is in The Swimmer, are due to some sort of mental illness or denial, or there's a lot of different things people could pick up on. So basically, when you're choosing your assertion, your topic sentence, if you will, of your assertion paragraph, try to make it something that you think is a little bit of a point of debate. Okay, and then remember that you're going to be looking for evidence that will quote-unquote prove your point. In the literary world, we're not necessarily looking to disprove something as much as to shed light on with evidence on something that people should consider. So that's kind of how I like to look at it. So what I'm going to do, is I'm going to open up the module on assertion and sort of talk you through the finer points of it. So I might go away, which might be a nice thing for me here. Let's see. So I'm going to go to modules, and I'm going to switch it to your view. And if you scroll down right now, because I'm making the video, there's no assertion video here, but you can see assertion, and this is written explanation. Okay, and let's look through the specifics of this. So it says, please type one paragraph, minimum 150 words. Remember, the word count is important because we have to keep this class transferable to the UC schools. So make sure you target that 150 words as a minimum, which shouldn't be too hard. But basically, you're going to make an assertion about one of the characters we've met so far. The paragraph should then go on to prove the assertion's validity through evidence from the story. You should use at least 2 quotations to support your point, and you should analyze those quotations to show how they prove your assertion. Okay? So remember, you want to have a minimum of 2 quotes. 2 quotes is fine for this. You don't really have to do more than that unless you find something really great. And then as we look through this pattern of how this is kind of a logical way to outline your argument, remember that you can't just assume through your evidence that the reader is going to see how the evidence connects to your point. You have to draw that direct line for him or her. So let's look through kind of the basic pattern of how you'd write a body paragraph or an assertion paragraph. Number 1, you'd start with your assertion. Okay, you don't want to make it a mystery for your reader. You want to, bam, just get it out there and let them know what your assertion is. So in this example below, which I don't think is my favorite, I should at some point redo this, but starts with, Madame Loisel is a woman whose life is engulfed with materialistic things and must learn with what she has and not with what she wishes to have. Okay, so again, why do I think this is only okay? I think, well, yeah, it's pretty clear to everybody that she is materialistic. I don't really think anyone would debate that. So I don't know. I don't think this is the strongest assertion, but that's fine. We'll start with this. And then the other thing that I'm not really sure whether we should be preaching so much about what people should or shouldn't do. So, I almost would think it would be better, because we're trying to prove a point about the story. We're not really trying to moralize about life. So I think it's distracting to read what she must do. So I would probably skip that part. Okay, so you support your claim. The next thing you're going to do is introduce a quotation that supports the assertion. So oftentimes it helps to have some background information of where this quote comes in your essay. That can really help to have as a sentence before. But one of the keys here is to have what's called a lead-in phrase. It's standard in literary analysis to have a short lead-in phrase, which is where you have a speaker and then a verb that explain that's all you have, with a comma that follows it, and then you have the quote. So the narrator explains, the reader learns, the character shouts. I have a whole list. I'll show you where this is, but if you go to the modules, the table of contents of the modules, you should see a little, they're called signal phrases or lead-in phrases for quotes. I have a module that explains this style. And I have a bunch of verbs that you could use, because it's good to mix it up. It's kind of not so great to keep using the same verbs before. So let me go back to the assertion here. So then you have your evidence. And here we have our evidence. She suffered from the poverty of her dwelling, from the wretched look of the walls, from the worn chairs, from the ugliness of the curtains. Okay, few things to notice about the quote. Double quotation marks, capital letter. If the quote reads as a full sentence, you capitalize the first letter no matter what it looks like in the text. But if it reads as a full sentence, when you have it inside a quotation mark, you capitalize it. Notice there's no period inside the quotation marks that comes after the end parentheses. Because we're only discussing one story here that has one author, you only need to put the page number in parentheses following the end quotation mark. If we were discussing more than one story, more than one author, then you would put the author's name, a space, and then the page number. Notice there's no P for page anywhere. Okay, so just the author's last name, space, page number, and parentheses period. Okay, now we provided the quotation. The next thing, this is the key, and this is what a lot of times people leave out. You need to spend a sentence or two showing how the quotation proves your assertion. While she had walls and chairs and curtains, she wanted new ones because the look of the old ones seems to disgust and depress her. She did not feel privileged to be at a rank where a home with chairs and curtains would suffice. She wanted more. Okay, so what the assertion made to the topic sentence, if you will. Okay, to showing how the quote proves your assertion, you want to introduce another quotation. Okay, again, it helps to have a little background. Even if it's something like later on in the story, blah, 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 whatever happened. Just a real short explanation of where the quote comes in the story, period, and you follow it up with your next quote. Okay, and then you spend a sentence or two showing how the quote proves your assertion. Now again, if you look at this one, we have a lot of moralizing. She must do this. She needs to do this. I think we just really should be focusing on what she's doing. Maybe if what she's doing is causing her difficulty, you can just say it like that. But again, what I'm not super crazy about this example is there's some moralizing, which not point in the story specifically. and other things can sort of be a distraction. Remember, this shouldn't be super long. It should be somewhere around 6-ish sentences long. If it goes on too much longer than that, then you're going to probably lose your reader. You want it to be direct and to the point. So read through the example. Hopefully my critique made sense of this, this assertion paragraph, and you can feel free to contact me if you have any questions that weren't answered through this video. Good luck!